Good evening, welcome back to Cooking with Dad and Em. Sorry, we're cooking some sausage here. And we're also cooking something else today. So let's get started.
Hola, como Esther. What's up? Welcome back. Happy Tuesday. Hope you guys are having a good week so far. Yeah, try not to make a mess. So yeah, like my son Gabriel says, we got some sausage going on, so that's why we're hacking up a lung here. Okay, go ahead and put the sausage in the plate, please. Carefully. Sorry. Just scoop it into the plate. So yeah, we got some stuff going on here. I'm going to try to guide you as best as I can through the process. Carefully. Carefully. Okay. There you go. So let's get started. I've done this one before. I've done this one a few times before. I just don't know if I've done it live. But this one has come out very good in the times that I've made it before, and I figured, why not? Okay, if you want, just give it a second and I'll do it. Just wait. Turn the heat to, not off, to like 2. Okay, so what we've got going on here is a 1-pot chicken dirty rice. If you can, try to scoop some of it out little by little. You get it on the spoon if you have to. There you go, just like that. Here, use this one. Or use a spatula. Sorry. Okay, 1-pot chicken dirty rice. So I've done this one a few times before. Again, I don't know if I've done it on the video, but this is pretty much what it's supposed to come out looking like. So you got the big pieces, the chicken thighs, the rice, the various spices, and you got some little sausage right there. Here's another picture of it, what it's supposed to come out looking like in the end. There it is on a plate, right there. Parsley on the side. Get pretty. There it is, right there. So let's scroll on down and let's get to it. Now the list of ingredients is a little bit long, so bear with me here. So you're gonna need 2 separate things of ingredients here. You're gonna need for the marinade and then for the rest of the dish. As far as the marinade goes, you're going to need a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon and a half of paprika, a half a teaspoon of pepper, half a teaspoon of dried minced onion, half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, half a teaspoon of oregano, about a 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes, about a teaspoon of lemon juice, and then it says a tablespoon enough olive oil to make paste. So it's estimating about 1 tablespoon. Now the paste, you can make it to whatever you're liking. Make it as thick or as thin as you want, as watery, whatever. I will show you here in a second. Now for the rest of the dish, you're going to need 2 tablespoons of olive oil, a link of andouille sausage, or you can use just regular kielbasa or... what kind of sausage did I use for this one? Smoked sausage. Smoked sausage, go-to pick here. Frankly, because of the andouille sausage, it's a little more expensive. The andouille sausage is very good, though. But, I mean, you can't go wrong with the little smoked sausage, kielbasa, anything like that. This still works just the same. Okay, 4 bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs. I'm going to be using more. I'm probably going to be going with either 6 or 8 chicken thighs. Only because I like having leftovers. 1 medium yellow onion diced. I don't have an onion. I forgot to buy one, so I'm using the minced dried onions. 1 jalapeno pepper, seeded and diced. I'm using 2 jalapenos with this one. 2 celery stalks diced. I'm using 3 with this. A quarter teaspoon of cayenne pepper, a pinch of red pepper flakes, salt and pepper to taste, 1 cup of dry long grain rice, 2 1/4 cups of chicken stock or broth. I may be using a little more than 1 cup of rice. We'll see. Sliced green onions for garnish and minced parsley for garnish. Both optional. Now, again, I mean, you guys already know how I am. You've been watching me for long enough. You know that I like to change things up. I like to add some ingredients. I like to increase the serving size, increase some of the quantities of things, and that's what I'm doing here tonight. Yes. Okay, so that was that as far as the ingredients goes. Now let's get down to the steps. Combine all your marinade in a medium-sized mixing bowl. Okay, so as you can see here, I have all my marinade ingredients here mixed in this bowl, and I probably put about maybe 2 or 3 tablespoons of olive oil, oil in here, only because I wanted to make enough paste to go around for the chicken thighs. So this is a paste that I'm going to be putting on my chicken thighs. And here are my chicken thighs right there. Step 1, combine all marinated ingredients in a medium-sized mixing bowl. Add your chicken thighs and turn to coat, set aside. So I'm going to take some of my chicken thighs, put them inside the bowl with my paste, coat them, and then I'm going to put them in my skillet. Preheat oven to 350. We already got our preheat going on right now. Add a drizzle of olive oil to your Dutch oven, or in this case we're using a skillet, and heat over medium-high heat. Brown your sausage on both sides, then transfer the sausage to a plate. So we already got the sausage already cooked, ready to go, and there she blows right there. Okay. Step 5. Add your chicken thighs skin side down and sear for 2 to 3 minutes per side to develop a nice crispy skin. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take our chicken thighs, we're going to roll them around in our paste, or at least cover them somewhat, and then we're going to put them skin side down in the pan. I'm going to put a little more oil before I do that. Let me borrow you for a second, please. Okay, so I'm going to take my chicken thighs, put a couple in here at a time. Ooh. And then, like I said, just roll it around a little bit. Roll your chicken thighs around in the paste a little bit. Work it with your hands if you want to. Just make sure you get the nice little coating on both sides, just like so. And then put your chicken thighs in. Now you can put as much of the paste on these chicken thighs as you want. You can go like how I did with that first one, or you can just really sop it on there. But just make sure you have enough to last for all of your chicken thighs. And bear in mind too that this is going to be a spicy paste because it's going to have the cayenne pepper, the crushed red pepper flakes, and some paprika and some other stuff in there too. So it's going to have a little bit of a kick. And then you throw in the jalapenos too. So this is going to have, this whole thing here is going to have some really good flavor to it. Ooh. Hot. Okay, nice little coating right there. 4. And if you feel like you're running out of some of the paste and you want to make sure you have enough to go around, sprinkle in a little more of the oil And just give yourself maybe about another tablespoon of oil and just put some more of that in there. And that should give you a little more paper to work around with everything in case you have more chicken thighs like what I do here. Oh, that's got some kick to it. Oh, that is good. Oh, that is good. Okay. Go ahead and crank the heat up to 5 on that one now. Thank you. Okay, so we've got all of our chicken thighs seasoned up with the paste, ready to go. Now we're gonna start cooking the chicken thighs. I'm gonna add a little bit more oil to this. Okay, so as you can see, we've got the chicken thighs skin side down in here. We're gonna go roughly about 2 to 3 minutes per side and then flip them. You're not gonna cook the chicken thighs all the way through now. That's what you're putting it in the oven for. You're gonna finish it off in the oven. You're gonna finish everything off in the oven. And then the chicken thighs, while they're in the oven, they're gonna get cooked. So all you're doing is you're just searing and browning the outside of the chicken. That's it on this step, nothing more. So don't even have to worry about entirely cooking the chicken right now. Okay, step 5, add your chicken thighs skin side down, sear for 2 to 3 minutes per side to develop a nice crispy skin. Kind of a bad picture, but you guys kind of get the idea. I'll show you here in a second what kind of a texture we're looking for on the skin, so that way you know what to go with. And then once you get them nice and crispy on both sides, then you're gonna put the chicken on a plate with the sausage, and then just leave that off to the side for now. So transfer chicken to a plate with the sausage and use a paper towel to wipe out any black bits from the pan. Brown bits and pan drippings are good to leave in though. Now leaving the bits of the paste in there on the bottom of the pan, it says to take them out if they're overly cooked and blackened. I'm just gonna leave that stuff in there unless it looks really bad, unless they're really, really burnt. But you figure the little bits from the paste that fall off into the pan and stay there after you pull out the chicken, it's still gonna leave the flavor in there, and with the oil and with the juices from the chicken, it's gonna carry over into everything else. So if you want, I know it says to go over medium heat. I'm gonna turn it up just a little bit to get these things cooked a little more. But for now, okay, I could probably let that go a little more, but it's your choice. Like I said, you're not trying to completely cook the chicken right now. You're just trying to brown it on the underside, on both sides real quick. So don't worry about if it's not cooked enough right now. This is just getting it ready. Okay. So you figure that is pretty much good right there as far as one side. You can let it go a little more, but again, the coloring of the skin, the coloring of the meat, when you're flipping it, it's all your choice. You can let it get as blackened or not as blackened as you want it. Again, that is your call. And it says just to develop a nice crispy skin. So I may flip it over a little more and get the skin a little crispier than that. but we'll see. I'm gonna let these ones cook here for a little bit before I flip it. But again, all you're trying to do is you're just trying to sear the outside of the skin, get maybe a little bit of a blackened texture on this because of some of the paste that's on here. So as you can see, we have some of our sausage that is already cooked and even blackened on one side. As long as it's not overly cooked. I mean, this isn't too bad because the other side doesn't look bad. Not bad. That hot smoked sausage, that's what I got there. That stuff is really good. One thing I used one other time was like a green chili sausage. Oh man, that stuff was so good. I can't remember when I used it or what I used it for, but I found a package of green chili sausage and oh my god, that stuff was so good. Very yummy. Okay, so let's check these. All right, so again, you can just leave them in there as long as you like and get whatever color and texture of the skin and the meat that you like. I'm probably just gonna let these ones sit skin side down just for a little bit longer. See, that doesn't look too bad right there. All right, so I'm gonna let those sit for just a little bit longer before I do anything more to it.
Ow.
Splat?
Yeah.
Splatter? Careful. Okay, so while we've got that going, so I'm going to show you, I have my celery all chopped up here. I have my jalapeno ready to go. And then I've got the rest of the stuff here ready to go too. Some of the stuff I may not be using again, but we'll see. Again, I increased the quantity of the celery. So instead of the 2 celery stalks that I recommended, I'm using 3. And instead of the 1 jalapeno that I recommended, I'm using 2. I mean, if you guys aren't familiar with dirty rice, it's kind of like a Cajun dish. Probably different variations of the dirty rice, but most of the stuff with dirty rice is that it's usually a Cajun dish, and you figure anything Cajun is gonna have some kick to it. It's gonna have it's gonna have a lot of heat to it from the spices, and then you figure with this one, with the jalapenos, it's gonna have some heat to it, and it's gonna be good. So, I mean, like I said, I like to adjust the quantity of stuff every now and then. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and take these out now. I think that should be good. So we're just moving these over to a plate so we can finish off with the rest of this stuff here. And I gotta be careful not to spill it. Uh-oh. All right, so this is what we've got left in the pan after taking out the chicken. It says to remove any blackened bits. It doesn't really appear to have very much blackened bits, so I'm not too worried about taking anything out. So you got a bunch of you got the oil, and you got some of the skin, you got some of the rest of the seasoning from the paste. We're gonna leave that in there, and we're gonna soak the veggies in there now. Okay, so step 7, transfer chicken to the plate with sausage. Use a paper towel to wipe out any black bits from the pan. Brown bits and pan drippings are good to leave in. Lower heat to medium-low. Add in the onion, jalapeno, and celery. So we're going to set our temperature down to about 3. I'm going to add in my minced onion. Eyeball it. Now I'm going to add in my celery and my jalapeno. Gabriel? Please. Ooh. Okay, so here goes the jalapeno. There's the celery. Thank you. Okay, so all we're doing right now is we're going to let this stuff just kind of roll around here in the pan with the oil and just let it get softened. You're just trying to soften it up a little bit for about 2 or 3 minutes. And just stir that as needed. You don't want it to stick to the bottom of the pan, but you also want to make sure that they cook evenly as well. Okay, so step 8, lower heat to medium-low, add in the chopped onion, jalapeno, and celery. Saute for about 2 to 3 minutes until softened. Add your cayenne, red pepper flakes, salt and pepper, and stir. I'm going to go ahead and add that stuff in right now. Okay, so as far as the rest of the stuff goes, the rest of the ingredients, with step 9 and 10, you're going to come up here to the rest of the dish section. So then we're going to go to a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, a pinch of red pepper and salt, red pepper flakes, and then a pinch of salt and pepper to taste. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the salt. Go very easy on that. Add in just a bit pepper. Red pepper flakes, red pepper. It said just a pinch, but again, that's your call on how much you want to add. And then for my favorite part, the cayenne pepper. Now it says to only add about a 1/4 teaspoon. I'm not measuring this stuff, as you can tell. So I am adding more than likely more than a 1/4 teaspoon. And that's okay, because that's mine, and that's how I like it. Okay, so just stir that around with the spices and the oil and the rest of the bits from the chicken and the sausage that were in here cooking. Let that stuff mix in there really well. And that looks pretty good so far. Nice and colorful right there. Okay, so that was that. Now we're going to come back down here to step 10. Add your rice and chicken stock and give it a stir. So we're going to come up here to see how much rice we need. It recommends a cup of long dry grain rice plus 2 1/4 cups of chicken stock or broth. So go ahead and measure me out 2 1/2 cups of the chicken broth. Okay, and don't go ahead and pour it whenever you're ready. Okay, so while Gabriel is measuring out the chicken broth, I'm going to go ahead and start adding in some of the rice. Now I'm using a brown rice. I mean, it doesn't matter what kind of a rice you use. Go ahead, pour it in there. Okay, so here's our first cup. And then 2 1/2. So here comes our first cup of rice. And also too, when you're adding in your rice, bear in mind that once the rice is cooking, as the rice cooks, it puffs it out. The rice starts to get real puffy, and it takes up more space than what it would right now. So it doesn't look like it's taking up a lot of space now, but once it gets cooked in the chicken broth here, it's going to start taking up some more space. So you don't want to put in too much rice thinking that you don't have enough, because what you think may not be enough may actually be a little too much. So just be careful with how much rice you add. I'm probably going to put in another 1/2 cup. Maybe. Okay, so we got about 1.5 cups of the rice in there. Is that all of the chicken broth?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got about 1.5 cups of chicken broth. I mean, 1.5 cups of rice, plus about 2.5 cups of the chicken broth. Now it says we have to let it simmer and slowly start making its way up to a boil. But as you can see, we got all the veggies in here. We got the minced onions, dry minced onions. We got the jalapeno. And then we got the celery in here too, plus the rest of the bits from the chicken paste and the sausage that were in there too. All right, so as far as the ingredients go, I think we're done with that. The green onions and the parsley, those are optional just for pretty. You can add those if you want to. So step 10 is where we're at right now. Add rice and chicken stock, give it a stir, and let it simmer for a minute. So we're gonna let it start to boil just a bit. And then what we're gonna do, after we start to get a slow boil, then we're gonna put the chicken thighs and the sausage on top of that. Pour in the juices that are left on the plate as well, and then we're gonna bring it back to a simmer, cover it, and then we're gonna finish it off in the oven. Oops, scroll down. Okay, so we're gonna finish it off in the oven at 350 for about 35 minutes covered. And then after that 35 minutes is over, we're gonna take the top off and then bake it for another 10 to 15 minutes until the liquid is absorbed in the rice. So, you're gonna let it cook for roughly an hour. Almost an hour, just a little shy of an hour. You're gonna cook it for about 45 to 50 minutes in the oven. It's recommending about 35 minutes covered, and then after that 30 to 35 minutes is over, then you're gonna take the cover off, and then you're gonna cook it for another 10 to 15 minutes. So you're looking at about 45 to 50 minutes if you have it set at 350. A little bit of a wait, but trust me, it's worth it. This stuff is gonna come out really good. All right, so we're gonna turn the heat up just a little bit, start to get this stuff to boil a little more. But as you can see, the rice is starting to take a little bit more space in here, and as it starts to simmer, and as the rice starts to get a little, the rice starts to soak up some of the water, you're gonna see that it's taking up more space. And as it cooks in the oven, it's gonna start taking up more space, plus the chicken and the sausage that are going to sit on top of this. Okay, so slowly boiling. Let's go ahead and start putting some of this stuff away. Okay, so while we're letting that simmer, we're gonna start putting some of the stuff back on the shelf. And kind of a wait and give this time to simmer up a little bit. Okay. And I mean, this stuff already smells good. And once it's all done, and once everything's all cooked and ready to go, this stuff is gonna taste pretty damn good. Okay, get me a baggie from the pantry, Ziploc baggie. Put those chicken thighs in the bag, and then put the bag back in the freezer, please. Okay, so as you can see, it is starting to simmer and bubble up here. So that is what we're looking for. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take our chicken thighs and our sausage on this plate and put them back and sit it on top of the rice. Now it doesn't say whether or not it's supposed to be skin side up or not, but I'm putting it skin side up. And then you can pretty much arrange it however you want, based on how much of the ingredients you're using. But I'm just trying to fill up the pan as best as I can. Okay, so the chicken is all in there. Now I have to add the sausage. Woo! That's good. And it says you can add in the drippings from the sausage and the chicken in here too. So everything on the plate is going in. Damn, that's good. And then just spread out the sausage. Yummy. Make sure you got that stuff sealed up good. Okay, so you're gonna put the chicken and the sausage back in there, and you're gonna start letting it simmer back up. And then once that is done, I'm probably gonna go ahead and start covering it up and putting it in the oven. Now, I'm using the biggest skillet that I've got, which is probably about a 14-inch skillet. I have my 12-inch skillet right here. If I had I have a lid that's big enough to fit this, but the skillet that I have in the pan, I don't, so I'm gonna have to use a cookie sheet. I'm gonna have to improvise, and it's not gonna cover it completely. So good, makes you wanna slap your mama. Okay. You said it, bro, not me. Cochino. Okay, so I have my cookie sheet. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and put the skillet of the pan, I'm gonna put the skillet inside the oven, and I'm gonna put the cookie sheet on top of this. Again, it's not gonna cover it completely, but it doesn't have to, at least in this case, because it's a big ass pan. I'm gonna do as best as I can. Okay, so I need you to hold this. Okay, so I'm gonna vent that out. So I'm gonna take my skillet. Put that in there. And then, as best as I can, cover it. So I have my pan skillet right there and my cookie sheet on top of it. It's covered somewhat. So that's that. Timer 30 minutes. Okay, so we're gonna cook it for 30 minutes with the cover on, 30 to 35 minutes. And then once that's done, then we're gonna take the cover off, cook it for another 10 to 15 minutes just so the rice can soak up the liquid from the chicken broth, and we should be done, but we'll see. We'll see what it looks like after we take off the cover in about 30 minutes and see what it looks like. Maybe we'll cook it for another 10 to 15, maybe not. We'll see. So that is pretty much it. All we have left to do now is just clean up. So let's do a quick recap of everything and show you what we are working with if you happen to join us late. All right, so again, a 1-pot chicken and dirty rice. This is what it's supposed to look like when it is done. As you can see, you got the sausage and you got the chicken thighs in there. Plus the green onions and the parsley, which I'm not adding, although I probably could. Okay, again, this recipe is in 2 parts. You're gonna have your marinade and then the rest of the dish. So let's start with the marinade first. Teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of garlic powder, 1.5 teaspoons of paprika, half a teaspoon of pepper, half a teaspoon of dried minced onion, half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, half a teaspoon of oregano, a 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes, plus a teaspoon of lemon juice, and then roughly about a tablespoon of oil to make a paste. Now you can adjust the quantity of the oil as needed to make the paste to whatever consistency you like it. You know, if you want it to be a thick, paste, you go easy on the oil. And if you want it to be a little less thick and a little more, I guess, runny, however you want to put it, add a little more oil plus a little more oil will make it last a little longer, depending on how much chicken you're using. But I mean, it's your call. I used about 2 to 3 tablespoons on there because I'm using six pieces of chicken in there instead of the 4 it recommends. Now you come to the rest of the dish. So you're going to need your 2 tablespoons of olive oil, a link of NWE sausage cut into 1/4-inch slices, or you can use what I did, which is just a regular kielbasa or a smoked sausage. That works just as well. 4 bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs. Again, I'm using 6, not 4. 1 medium yellow onion diced, 1 jalapeno pepper seeded and diced, 2 celery stalks diced, 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, a pinch of red pepper flakes, salt and pepper to taste, 1 cup of dry rice, 2 1/4 cups of chicken stock or broth, and then you're going to need your sliced green onions and parsley as a garnish, which are optional. And that is it. 7 o'clock right now, so give me till 7:30, 7:45-ish, and we should be done. Tomorrow is Wednesday. I may not have a video tomorrow. We will see. We'll see. So if I see you tomorrow, I see you tomorrow. If not, then I will see you Thursday, maybe. I'm still waiting on everything to go through with the house. Tick tock, tick tock. It is just dragging. Waiting, just like Tom Petty says, the waiting is the hardest part, and it damn sure is. It is. Waiting is the hardest part. I hate it. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and clean up here. Wait about a half hour, 45 minutes or so. But I will see you guys soon. If not tomorrow, I will see you soon. Sometime later on this week.
Bye-bye.
Gabriel says bye. Lacey. Bye. Lacey says hi from a distance. Over there somewhere. Bye.